because the depth of Shabbat, right? Starting on like a simpler level, as we ourselves spoke about on Shabbat on Friday, the Friday night service and the meal that follows on Friday night commemorates something that once happened, right? The creation of the world. That's why we say in the prayers and also in the Kiddush, Vayechulo Shamayim Ve'aretz, V'chotvam, and the heavens and the earth were all completed. And so Friday night represents creation. Saturday morning, in our prayers, we say, Yismach Moshe b'matnat chelko, ke'eved ne'eman karatalo. And it represents, therefore, it says, Shnei luchot ha'even natata b'yado. You gave him 2 stone tablets. Not even sapphire doesn't even do justice to what those tablets were. They were like kryptonite, but on a good sense. Getting near them, you got zapped. But Saturday morning commemorates the revelation on Sinai and the giving of the tablets of the Torah to the Jewish people. In other words, almost what we might call the main event in the history of the world, was when God went out of character, so to speak. He's a concealed God. He's a God who conceals himself. The whole creation is predicated upon a concealment in order to reveal in increments to creatures who can exist, right? He had to limit his infiniteness and create a world of finite creatures. So he went out of character in order to lift 3 million people up into a collective prophetic experience, right? Which is really what Judaism is all about. Its claim is that no other religion can claim such a thing. You can't make up such a thing. You can't introduce that in the middle of the story and say that 3 million people experienced something if they didn't experience it. You're going to say, well, where were they? Who are they? Who are their descendants? One of the proofs of the Torah is that you can't make up a story like that and get away with it. And therefore no other religion has made up a story like that, because you can't get away with it. It's all other religions are individuals who've had experiences, who have told everybody else, I've had an experience. Believe me, I am somebody. I've had an experience of God. But Moses, his prophecy was a shared prophecy, a collective uplifting up to prophetic proportions. So there's more to say about that, but Saturday morning commemorates that. We'll call it revelation. Friday night again was creation. Saturday morning was revelation. Saturday afternoon, we don't commemorate what happened. We commemorate what didn't happen yet, what hasn't happened yet, which is the redemption. And it's hinted at in the phrase that we say in Mincha of Shabbat, Ata echad, v'shimcha echad, umi ke'amcha, ki Yisrael, goy echad ba'aretz. You are one and your name is one, and who is like you? But Israel, the singular nation, in other words, the nation that embodies the concept of God's oneness and is the carrier of that oneness in this world. And that Ata echad v'shimcha is unique in all Torah literature. It doesn't. It doesn't have a home base except one verse in Zechariah, which is slightly different. It says, it's a famous verse at the end of Aleinu, V'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. And it will be that at the end it will be revealed that Hashem was king, that Hashem was sovereign. His sovereignty, his absolute sovereignty will be revealed to have been there the whole time. And on that day, Hashem will be one, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and his name will be one. So in Kabbalistic literature, in the Zohar, that's represented as the unification of Yud Kei Vav Kei and Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, the 2 of the names of God, represented in the Sfirot by Tiferet and Malchut. When Tiferet and Malchut are finally joined together, when, that is to say, heaven reveals itself down into the earth plane, right, fully, that'll be, then the earth plane will be lifted up, and no longer the concealment that must exist in order for human life to exist as it does now will be exposed. On that day, right, we're waiting for that day, Bayom Hahu. So it's a future thing. So then therefore when we say in Mincha, Ata echad, v'shimcha echad, and we actually say it in the present, because it's not just that it's in the future. For us, vis-a-vis us, because we live within time, it's in the future. But it's the eternal present. You are one and your name is one. It was just a necessary illusion that there'd be a duality between heaven and earth, between the supernatural and the natural, between the totally revealed godliness and the hiddenness of God in the earth plane. But when we get there finally, it'll be exposed that you were one the whole time. So that's a future thing. Mincha and Seudah Shlishit of Shabbat are the future. So Shabbat is really creation, redemption, the beginning and the end, and in the middle, Sinai. And as I said in Shabbat, it's the 3 R's: creation, revelation, redemption. Just like reading, writing, and arithmetic. The 3, it's the orientation meeting. Every week we get an orientation, because we came in the middle of the story. Like, how are you going to understand what this is all about? There's a famous parable or mashal about people in an incredible theater where there's a drama going on the stage, and there's a huge audience. But like most of the audience, the back seats are always going out and coming in and going, and they're like, what's going on in this play? But there's a group up front near the orchestra that are always turning around and saying, shh, be quiet. And they're saying, well, it doesn't mean anything. This is a meaningless drama. It doesn't go anywhere. They said, that's because you weren't here for the last scene. We've been here the whole time. We're the people of history. We believe that God manifests in history, and at the end, we're waiting for Him to come out at the curtain call. That's why we're here. Like, the whole thing is only so that we're waiting for that moment when He comes out and does the curtain call, and He says, this was me. I did it. Do you understand now? Just like Yosef said when he revealed himself, Ani Yosef. So the Chafetz Chaim says that God will come out at the end of history and say, Ani Hashem, I did this whole thing. And we'll say, oh my God. You mean all this and human free will and all that? I mean, you were behind all this? Yeah, I just had to hide myself. I had to give. It's not an illusion. It's a necessary illusion that we have total free will. But within that, there's a godly force working and pushing history towards a culmination, a rendezvous with God. And once we hop onto that, there's no reason to fight it, because history moves towards God. So I want to explain a little bit how that happens, and then I want to go into the technical language of the Ari, because what I'm saying here is really just me translating into our language.